And today's question, Scott, all yours.
How will the expanded playoffs in 2020 impact the Browns' chances of making the playoffs? This is, I think, a welcome change for the Browns. Not only are they coming into a season maybe a bit bruised from last season's expectations, you have all this momentum now with all the additions on offense, and you have a new coaching staff and a new GM. And also you have a better chance to make the playoffs, at least in theory, because you're going to have the extra team in each conference, the number one seed, and each conference will get a bye, and then you'll have as many as 12 teams playing on that opening wild card weekend. So a lot of stories after this was originally announced went back and, well, let's see, how many times would the team we cover have made the playoffs? In the Browns' case, not many. Actually, 2007 is the only time they would have under this format. Of course, that was the 10-win season where they just missed out. But since then, it's every other season has been a lot of third and fourth place finishes in the division, and no real chance. So this season could be different. I think this change might have as big of an impact on their ability to make the playoffs as the players they've added to this team. Just having that extra spot that's out there for the taking, I think, could be huge for them, and it maybe lessens the pressure of having to have that 10-win season. Maybe you can have that 9 or maybe even 8-8 season, and you get in. It's a small step from last year. You don't have to take that huge step. So I think this could be a big deal for the Browns.
Yeah, I really do think so too. I think it's huge because when you look at the AFC North, it just, no matter what, I think it's going to be really, really hard to get past those Baltimore Ravens again, especially. And then again, now with Ben Roethlisberger back and Joe Burrow, I think it's going to be a really, really tough division, a dogfight in the division. And we're going to know early on just how tough it's going to be because most of their AFC North games are in the first half of the season. But, they're up against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens for how many ever years. And it's going to be difficult to win the AFC North over the next decade, I think. So the fact that they have another chance now, 3 wildcard teams in each conference get to make the playoffs, I think that's absolutely huge for the Browns. I mean, it will make such a difference at the end of the season when you're doing all the math and you're trying to figure out who's in and who's not. And, sometimes, even last year, they were kind of in the thick of it very close to the end. And now, with this, it could come down to quite often the final week. That final game in Pittsburgh could come down to that final wild card game. So I think it's exciting. I think it's really good for the league. And I think it's really good for the Browns, who are playing in a very, very tough division.
It also helps, too, if they start slow. If they lose to Baltimore, now they should be able to beat Cincinnati on a Thursday night at home, Joe Burrow's first short week. I hope they can win that football game. And I think Cincinnati even plays a later game on Sunday than they do in that opener. So, but if you start a little slow, it gives you a little more wiggle room there towards the end. And this is a league where more and more teams kind of, if they don't stumble out of the gate, they might scuffle a little bit and go 2-2 or 3-4 out of the gate, and then they kind of make their run late. So that sort of sets up for the Browns, who should be able to do that. If you start slow under this new coaching staff with all this weird stuff this offseason, it's not just over. At 2-6 last year, yeah, it was sort of set up for them to kind of get themselves back into it, and they sort of did. But it was just too big of a mountain to climb, especially with what happened with Myles Garrett. And I don't think that would have been the case if there would have been a 7th playoff team.